Hey guys, alright, so we are back to finish up our coasters and hopefully this beautiful vase. So, as usual, I'm going to slide that out of our way so that we can get resin poured because we want to get that mixing, right? Always, always, always. Alright, some gloves on for us. Hope y'all are doing well. I get this little series wrapped up, which is exciting. And get to move on to the next. Alright, I have our counterculture DIY artist resin. With these, does not matter what we pour first because we're going to pour into a separate cup and then pour into our big cup. I am pouring B. If you watched the first episode, you know that my B is yellow, but clearly we had no issues with that. It's just time to get it used up, and this is perfect to do that with. I poured 80 of B, so I'll pour 80 of A. Get as close to possible as we can. And I like to set them down and just get a better look. I went a smidge over on both, but I definitely went over more on A than B. So we'll pour just a little bit back in there. Let's see if that is looking better. Now maybe just a dollop short. Not a dollop of daisy, just a dollop of resin. Making a mess. Alright. Okay. We're excited. At least I am. So I'm doing 80. I just decided that was probably good since 100 was a little too much. First to manage last time, it started curing too fast. Made me a little bit too anxious and nervous. All worked out fine. I didn't have any smoke coming up. It just got really hot on the outside and it cured a lot faster than it probably should have. But that's okay. We didn't start a fire. We had no smoke. We had no crazy thing of that nature. Alright, I like, if you've watched any of my other tutorials, you'll know this, but I like B first. I like to have B in first. Kind of coats the cup before I put in A, which A is thicker. That's the hardener. This is 1 1, so not by weight, it's by measurement. And we are doing 80 each, 80 ml. Of both A and B. I scrape my cups very extensively. I want it to be as even as possible. Get a nice, well done coat or coverage here. All right. Cool. Now we will start mixing this. My probably one of my least favorite parts. Actually, my least favorite part of resin art is gonna have to be cleanup. Cleanup's the worst for me. I do not like it, but you know what? It's one of those things. It's part of doing resin. One must clean up. So, you know, just like one must stir their resin, well, that is where I'm at. I'm going to have to stir this for 3 minutes. I didn't even look at the clock. So we're going to eyeball it a little bit. Y'all will probably know better than I will, because you can go back and look. Also, that last video, we had something fall into our mixed resin that we were adding colorant in. I went back and watched that part of the video. No freaking clue what that piece of plastic was and where it came from. I didn't have anything in the space that like broke. I mean, it's the weirdest thing. I have no idea. Unexplainable. One of those things I'm going to just have to accept that I can't explain it. And I do not like that. I like things to be explainable. But that is just one of those phenomenons that I don't know. It had to be something that was stuck to my phone or something, but no clue. So, anywho. That's my store, and I'm sticking to it. You'll notice I go left and I go right. It's just anything to keep my wrist from cringing. And yes, we have lots of bubbles, but we are crystal clear on this. I'm going to do just a little longer for good measure, since I didn't look at the clock very well. And around. Alright. I always like to give it a few little love taps onto the table so that we can bring those bubbles up. Here I like to wipe off my gloves, just a little rubbing alcohol onto my gloves, make them less sticky. I can then put my resin bottles away, and there you go. Not have to have them in my workspace, which is always nice. Okay, I had this thought while I was standing here. Mixing that. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. It is good. Just one more thing. Okay. I think I'm happy with it. Alright. We're going to hit this with just a smidge of heat. Since I'll let some of those bubbles come up. I'm going to get those bubbles popped that are on the surface. And we'll keep letting it sit for just a little bit longer because I do want it to have a chance to let more of those come to the surface. So let's bring our table back in. I'm going to just double check that we're still level. That way I'm not worried about, you know, being off kilter, things of that nature. I'm going to put these right here for pouring sake so that you can see the cups that we're going to do. So for the backs, I'm going to do a little combination. I'm going to do this blackish green mica, and I'm going to put in some interference green. I'm so proud of myself for saying that right. Interference green in there. I'm going to mix that together, and that's going to fill in our back and give us a real nice rich dark background with some probably play on light, because this will play on the light a little bit more and give that kind of a shine. Then for our vase, I've been debating on what colors to go with, and I kind of have them picked out. I think I'm going to do kind of a mermaid mica, this Bora Bora, because it's stunning, with a little bit of sterling mica, and I might throw in a little splash thermal mica powder just to give us a little different zing with it. So yes, we have a lot of different ones happening, so be a little bit interesting. Biggest thing is getting these done, and then we'll see what we have left over. We may have extra resin. I know we'll have extra. I don't know if we'll have extra after we fill our vase up or not. So, and I'll bring the vase into play once we get the other done. I think actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and focus on these, get them situated, and then we can mix all the others. Because once you start adding your, what I want to say, additives to it, your micas, you can make your resin start to heat up a lot faster. And I think that's partly kind of what happened here is we distributed our resin too much. We waited too long. Mixing, yada, 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 caused that to get really hot. So, alright, so we've got some nice bubbles on the surface. So, a little heat action. Just to kind of go around. Keep this pretty moving. Don't want it to sit too long. Want to get that all popped up as much as we can. I'm guesstimating how much I'm going to need of the resin to fill these up. I'm going to go with about that, and we'll see. And it might need a little less than that. I'm going to go a little less. Watch it. I need more, but okay. We're going a little less because I do want to be able to get that full. Alright, so I'm going to throw a little bit of this interference. Whoo, look at that prettiness on that one in there. That was pretty. And then we're going to throw in some of this blackish green, which it's really pretty too. I'm going to use the other side so I don't have contamination in the jars. That mic is already getting eaten by the resin. Look at this. It's going to be so pretty. So you want to keep mixing that mica fully until it's all mixed into your resin. And essentially think of it, if you're a baker, you don't want any dry flour clumps when you mix your wet and dry goods in baking. Same thing. You don't want any little mica clumps in here. We want our mixture of wet and dry to conform together. This is really pretty. Really pretty. I do think I want just a tad bit more black in it, just to give us a little bit darker in there. So I'm not going to use that same thing. I'm going to use a different scoop that I have. It is kind of greenish. Let's see. I want it to get a little bit darker. So I have black charcoal. I think it's silver black. That's actually cool. I didn't even look. I was just like, oh, it's a black mica. Let's grab it. That's the other reason why I wipe my gloves off in between moving the resin around, is because I'm constantly like, oh, I need this or I need that, and I grab something and I touch it. Just to help keep our other supplies nice. Oh yeah, this is giving us much more mysticky dark that I was wanting. Yep. Beautiful. Alright. So there's some bubbles, but they're going to work themselves out when we go in here and get them poured. So really, all that I'm wanting is just to make sure that we get a nice layer across the whole back. Oh my goodness, look at how pretty that is. It's not going to keep the pattern because the resin is going to move. So I'm not really worried about, that was close. I'm not worried about going out of my mold. I'm not really worried about like the lines and such, because that's all going to shift anyway. And we're not worried about that at this stage. It's the back, 1. 2, we're not trying to make a bloom out of it. We're just trying to get our back coated. So I like to lift it up if I'm not doing a bloom, help it along. You could also use a silicone brush to move it into the corners or the petals in this situation. Biggest thing is just don't let it go out of the mold. Get it as close to possible without exceeding the edge. And it will self-level itself out, but I want to make sure that I have a coat across the entire back and not leave a gap without the resin. I did some vacuuming before I came into my craft space, and I stirred up so much dust. And it's not like we don't vacuum, it's just that we have pets, and yeah. And I'm technically allergic to pets, isn't that funny? And I have pets. You know, it's fine. I couldn't see my life without them. So anyway, if you hear me, you know, sniffing, I apologize. My nose, these allergies are getting the better of me. Trying to not let them ruin my craft night though. Like, this is me time. This is therapy, self-care, however you want to look at it. That's how it is for me. This is what helps me keep ticking every day. Get to enjoy. Okay. I think I got that pretty well emptied. Nice thing about the paper cup is we get to throw it away. I'll let it cure up and then I'll throw it in a bag. I'm getting there. Whew. I glanced up at the camera to make sure I was still in view. About went out of the mold. Come on. There we go. Oh, those are going to be so pretty. So pretty. Alright, so do you see bubbles? So I want to go ahead and get them popped. A little bit of heat. You'll see them just popping away. Nice thing is when you're doing micas in it, a lot of those bubbles are going to get hidden. You're not going to see them unless they're on your edge or something. Or they form in the center of your piece and are obvious. But we try to get them as best as we can, just so we don't have to worry about them. And see, the resin's moving, the lines are moving and shifting. It's just going to happen. I'm not looking for anything particular on the backs or the back side. It's more of just giving us a different color to show through our bloomed areas, help get them defined, and look how you can make it shift based on how you're hitting with the heat gun. And you see I'm moving the heat gun quite extensively. I don't want it to be in one spot for way too long, because it will cause, or could cause, the resin to heat too fast and go poof in the flames. We don't want that. Alright, so those basically are done. Unless I see a bubble really pop up, they're going to be done. We're moving on to this pretty baby. So, let's get us some colors mixed up. I'm going to do 4 different ones. And you know what? The colors are going to be what they're going to be. And if we have too much resin to fill this up, then that is just fine. I'm not going to stress about it. We'll find a trinket dish of some sort and fill that up. So again, just scraping this container to get as much of the resin out as I can. Being a little messier than I normally like to be, but we're making it work. I like to get as much of that resin as one can, and I've made it come on this side, go inside, we're just all over. Okay, I think that's good. My gloves are a mess, so make sure that I wipe them off before I'm handling our mica jars. And I'm just gonna grab a couple little stir sticks for us. Little stir sticks. These are silicone stir sticks, so they get to be reused, which is always exciting for me. Alright, let's get a little bit of this splash in here. Actually, I'm going to do probably 2 scoops because this really thins out. And that scoop is a lot bigger, which is fine. But that tends to thin out a little bit. These, the color goes a long ways. But I barely put any in. I still want color in, so, you know, gotta get that added. Ooh, Bora Bora might be one of my faves. Seriously, might be one of my faves. So this Sterling. Oh, I have a story for y'all. So this Sterling, y'all notice this jar looks like I've used a ton because there's hardly any in here. Reason for that is I didn't know the proper way to transfer mica from a bag to a jar. And that was the first one I tried, was Sterling. I tried to take it from the baggie and get it into that jar. It did not work out very well. Do you see how the powder is flying up just as I'm trying to mix it in? So imagine me trying to dump this staticky mica powder out of a baggie of all things and get in that jar. It was a complete and utter disaster. Literally everything in my craft space, including my arms and hands, were silver. I looked like the Tin Man in Oz. Like, it was comical. Truly comical. And I was like, what in the world? So these are counterculture DIY micas. So I went to their artist resin web Facebook site and I was like, does anybody have any tips and tricks? One of the owners came on and they're like, little tip, put it in the freezer first and then for like at least 10 minutes and then just cut the tip of the corner and then it should just pour right in rather than trying to come out the top. You know, Ziploc bag. Kind of imagine you're opening the zipped part and trying to pour out. Oh no, that creates a mess. She's like, just nip a corner with your scissors. Just kind of like we do our piping bags when we're piping the counter cast. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to try that. Oh my gosh, so much better. So this is how full they should be about. I've used more of this than I have that Sterling. Yet the Sterling looks way lower. It's because it was everywhere. So, learn from my little trials. Just saying. You guys see how much that thinned out. See? Because, yeah. It's, definitely was interesting. So, if you haven't watched my tip video on transferring micas and glitters, definitely check that one out. Oh, I dropped Sterling in that one. It is what it's going to be. I ain't going back. So that one will have some powder residue on the back. It probably won't be smooth, but it's what it is at this point. That's the only problem when you're trying to do multiple pieces. Okay, so the green is already on the bottom here. So I'm going to do just a little bit of green. And then I'm going to do a little bit of our silver. And I can tell you this is already getting pretty warm. So I'm glad we're cruising with it. So I was mixing, I could feel it. And I'm not doing anything special. I'm just really kind of going back and forth on this and letting it pour into the vase part. And it's going to do whatever it's going to do once it's in there. It's not up to me to figure that part out. It's going to just be like magic. And truthfully, this will probably rise to the top because it's lighter. And this silver, with as much as is in it, in the reflectiveness of it, it's probably going to float more to the bottom and work a lot more like our casting craft does than anything. Yep, I can already see the silver is going down and that blue purple is coming up. I love this spore border. Might just be one of my favorites of all time. Mermaid's really pretty too. All of these are pretty. Who am I kidding? They're all gorgeous. So we're getting close. So I'm going to try to get all the Bora Bora in. Yep, we're starting to get a little stringy. Now we get a little bit more of this green. Might do a touch of blue. If it will come out. Come on. Okay. And just a smidge of silver to top us off. And that's pretty good because we really don't need it to come up and over the lips here. We just needed it to come to the lip area. So we definitely have a little bit extra. So we're going to do a little trinket dish. I'm going to just move this to the back of my table right now so I can get this trinket dish in here. Alright, we don't got a lot of colorant left, but we have some. So, again, at Beck's Creations, we do not waste material, or we minimize our waste as much as possible. So we scrape our silicone cups, we scrape our paper cups, we get as much as we can. And granted, that's not much Bora Bora, but you know what? It is more than we had before I scraped it. This mermaid we've got a lot of, so it's going to have a splash of those other colors, but definitely have more mermaid here. Okay, be nice if I finish it off, but I don't think I'm going to be quite that lucky, although it's going to be close. If we scrape enough, we might make it. Because, I mean, those are pretty big globs that I get. Now, once I start not getting really much on my stir stick, then I will. I chose this harder plastic one on these paper cups just because they are, they do better at scraping the paper cup than those silicone ones do. So, and if you notice how I scrape the cup, get as much on the as I can, and then I kind of do that working back and forth to get it off of our tool. Alright, let's see if this is gonna finish this off or not. We'll see. It might. It just might. There's still quite a bit in here. but not enough that I think it's going to fill it. Unfortunately, it's gotten very stringy. Okay. That had a big air bubble in it, or has a big air bubble in it. So it looks way bigger than it was in resin. I'm going to see if enough has pooled in the bottom of my silicone cup to finish this off. Or at least get it to where I don't think I would need another layer. If I can get it as close to that rim as possible, we won't need another layer on it, which would be phenomenal. Because then we would have 2 coasters, a vase, a vase, and a trinket dish to unload. Y'all, I think this is going to be all she wrote. I have scraped about as much as I can. Now, if this was scraping on my mold, it would definitely damage the mold. Scraping in my cup isn't going to do anything. What it does is if you were to scratch your mold, you're going to get that scratch there on every creation after. So, just be aware of that. Like, I knew because it's my silicone cup that I mixed my resin in. I'm not worried about the imperfections that would leave on cured resin because I'm not curing in my cup. So, don't use your hard stuff on your molds. I'm going to do this. 1, it's going to help that resin shift around a little. 2, it's bring in some of those bubbles, those pescion bubbles on up, which is what I want. It looks funny because there's that clear resin just dipped in. It's fine. I'll just space it a little bit more. Maybe I might see if that will. It's kind of fun to do this and see what you might create. I don't want to hit my coasters really anymore because as you can see they are pulling to the center. I'll bring y'all in closer here in just a second so you can see it. I think we'll be good on this trinket dish, which is exciting. So, be very careful and bring this up. So you see how there's like these circles in our coasters? That's with the resin pulling itself to the center. It is just drawing itself in and bringing that into the center, which is awesome because that's what resin does. So we know that that's what is happening, and we can see it pulling those and shifting the micas that are in that resin into it. So that is cool. Just something to show y'all so you can see. All right. Potentially next week we will be working in a little bit different setup. So I am excited. I have to move my workspaces around a little bit because I need to cut some fabric because this girl does not do just one craft, y'all. I do like so many different crafts and things. So sewing is one of those. I love to sew, and I haven't sewed in a really long time. My sewing machine stays in its little case in the closet for a lot of the times, just because I don't get to it as much, and I don't have a designated spot for it. So that's why. And not that y'all fully need to know this whole story, but you know what? You're getting it. That's what you get when you come to Buck's Creations. You get resin and a tail. I'm trying to just move this out of my way so that I can show you guys the cleaning process. And I had to clean a space to move it. Anywho, so going to be working to this table will allow me to cut the fabric I need to, because it's bigger, and I can put my big cutting table on it, or cutting mat on it. And so I have to do some flip-flopping basically of my spaces. So next week will be a little bit different. I haven't decided if I'll still record over in this corner or if I'm just going to record where this table is at in the new space and just be, you know, in a newer spot for us. I'll just have to maneuver that, which I think is probably what's going to happen, because I think, although I kind of have everything set, but all my colorants will still be in some of this cabinet. I don't know. It's still a work in progress. So this paper towel has some rubbing alcohol on it. So I'm just using it to get these sticky colorant ones, kind of initial wipe off, so that it's taken care of. And it's just one by one, kind of getting the colorant off and making that be a smidge better. Alright, that's an unused cup. And this has resin all up it, so we'll do a wipe off of it. It's going to need a lot more, but just getting that initial. Okay, I kind of mixed old and new and in between. I'm going to take this and just go on one of these cups. So I'm just trying to get that layer that's in there, just one round of stickiness out of there. That's how I like to do it. And then we grab a fresh paper towel, some rubbing alcohol. These are looking good. But yeah, I am excited to sew, y'all. And it's for a really good reason too, so that I am excited about. I'll announce at some point what it is. But for now, I get to sew. I picked out a bunch of fabrics. More coming in because I needed to order some, which, by the way, since Joann's has gone out of business, I was like, I don't even know. So I got some from Michael's and some from a company out of Arkansas called like Marshall's Dry Goods. We'll see. Fingers crossed. I put in a pretty big order with them. They created my shipping label, but they have not shipped the package, so we'll see. See, they say they're busy cutting my fabric. I'm like, why did you create my shipping label? That's just torment. But we'll see. Should come relatively soon. And then I will be cutting machine and sewing fiend. So I gotta get my sewing table. My sewing table's in the corner over here off to the side, and I'm like, goodness. Why'd I design my space like that? Well, because I wasn't planning on doing sewing anytime soon. Just kidding. Now I'm going to do some sewing. So, gotta get my sewing table out so I've got a good solid spot to sew. Need this table for cutting so I have a good spot to cut. You know, all the things. All the things. I will take my silicone mats off so that I don't damage them when I'm not doing resin on this table. I might even take the puzzle that's underneath. If you haven't watched some of the early episodes, I had to clear my workspace to do a 3,000 piece puzzle. And when I got it all done, I was like, you know what? Why not leave it? I'm going to put silicone mats over it. Like, it's not going to get damaged. Like, we'll just do that. So I did. and I've left it, but I actually might pull it up because it's going to make cutting not so convenient. And even probably, so it's okay. It's time to put it away. It's a very colorful puzzle and it was really fun to do. And I can say I've done 3,000 pieces. Well, 2,999 because the dog ate one, but you know, who's counting? So, yep. He ate one that was not recoverable after he ate it. So those are really good. I just kind of fresh one, kept going round and round, go around my edges. I'm more just chit-chatting while I'm cleaning because if you have watched other videos, you've seen this process a zillion times. But that is one of my mottos. If you're new, I don't like to skip steps. I don't like to edit my videos a ton. If you want to speed it up, you speed it up. Slow it down where you want to watch. Because let's be honest, we all have our own timeline and so forth. We see these really sped up videos or on TikTok that are really fast, and I love watching them. Truly, I do. However, for somebody starting out, you're not going to get a lot of content to see how it's done. So this way y'all get to see how it's done. And I'm just throwing these into my clean cup because they're clean now. No need for me to worry about them. And if they're in my clean cup, then I know they're clean when I start the next project and such. I do like to take this and just wipe down my silicone space, my silicone mats, every now and then, just to kind of get them clean. And where I'm not putting a tote over top of these, I feel like I'm able to get my space a little bit cleaner because I'm not working around a tote, which is nice, I will say. And I am going to show you how we are going to cover said resin so that we don't have to worry about the dust particles getting into it. Or little bugs, gnats. I don't know if y'all get those like nasty fruit flies, which we do where we live. Carefully bring this back over. Look how this has changed. The resin's just moving around, some giving us silver spots and blue spots, Bora Bora and mermaid, kind of all mixing, which is cool. And this one is too. It's done a lot of shifting. Alright. So, we've got our beautiful pieces. Look how shiny that light is reflecting. It's really fun. Alright, so this nifty thing that I'm going to put over it is really cool. And it's meant for like a picnic and food area. And it's just a little net. But it folds up to this like teeny tiny thing. And so that's fantastic for my space, because I don't have to have something bulky. I work in a small area and I don't need additional bulkiness getting in my way. So this is video 2 with it, and I am loving it because it gives me the freedom of having more space. So, into the video, clubs come off. I tell people if they rip, they go in the garbage. If they don't rip, I'll try them again for the next video. They might rip as I put them on, but that's okay. I've gotten my use out of them. Sometimes I haven't cleaned my gloves very well and I feel them be a little tacky. A little bit of rubbing alcohol, and then wash your hands with soap and water. Clean that right up. No problem. I also do have a, I always just forget about it. I have this resin remover that I got on Amazon. I've never even used it because the pump was not filled. But it's just, it's almost like hand sanitizer, I think. It's kind of gritty. It's a little weird feeling. I'd probably go wash my hands afterwards. But it smells good. It's actually got aloe in it, so it does actually smell good. Yeah. Or you could even use it on your molds. I mean, I probably wouldn't use that because the rubbing alcohol's cheaper and it does the job. Wipe off all or remove excess resin. Apply a dime-sized amount on your dry hands. Rub hands together vigorously, ensuring complete coverage. Rinse with warm water. Repeat as necessary. Okay, so rinse with warm water. Like I said, probably a good idea to wash my hands. But yeah, there we go. That is this next one. So exciting. Glad you guys came along. Don't forget to hit follow to watch more fun creations come together. And I'll see y'all again soon. Bye. Hey guys, so coming on here so we can unmold our creations. Got my little helper. She is going to first unmold this trinket dish that we did. It filled it just perfectly. She's going to be careful because there is like a raised edge there that could definitely slice like a knife into your skin. It is not forgiving by any means. And the trick is just getting each side kind of undone, slowly but surely. And once you get a corner, you can then work to get another corner. Whoops, our vase tipped over, but that's okay. And there it is. Ooh, it is pretty. It's got this little bit of purple. Definitely got that mermaid mica. We knew we'd have a lot of the mermaid in the silver. So the silver is very strong here in the center of the camera. Need to focus. And then the mermaid up on the edges, but we got a little bit of this blue purple and a little bit of our Bora Bora right there. It looks gorgeous. Probably we'll put just, to clean this up, we'll take a little bit of this edging off and put a nice thin coat on there, and that trinket dish is done. Beautiful. She's given thumbs up. Now we're going to do the vase. She'll bring it to the center. It's got all these little things on the top. She's been wanting to peel them off, and I was like, hold on, we got to show it on video. So this one's going to be challenging. This is the first time working with this mold. We'll see how we do. You can get a mold release. I've never needed one. You can also spritz a little rubbing alcohol down on the side of your mold if you needed to. Like I said, I've never actually had to do that yet, so we'll see. This might be a first. Yeah, it's all about getting it peeled from the edges, and it's just about slowly working it. And then it doesn't have a lot of give because there's just not a lot to give.
I'm going to take some of the top off to try to get it.
Let's see.
Being stubborn.
It's about getting the air in there, and this bottom is really cool looking right here. As that pink come through.
Are you gonna take like that?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I thought that was gonna cute. And here's some of
I had a big old bubble do something weird there, but
it's kind of normal.
Let's see. Y'all, I'm slowly getting it. Little by little. Yeah, it's not gonna work that way. Got it. There we go. Once we get over the bump here. And then just turn the mold inside out. And then work it out at the center here. I don't want that mold to break. Oh, come on. Whoop, pop. So the mold came out like this. We just return it around. But look at this vase. It is gorgeous. I think it is stunning. I love how it turned out. I love, let's see if I can get good angle here, how the pink came on up through it and kind of splattered because we let that cure on the side of the mold is dripping. So that really helped kind of bridge these layers in a fun little way. even though we know that we had layers, it still makes it look like it was intended to be that way. So that's a really neat technique. And it looks stunning.
Okay.
And this will pop off, like little bits will come off, and then use a deburring tool and clean that up. There's a little funky spot. I'm going to try to get right here. It looks like a bubble formed, but also some resin cured here. So it's a little soft. I could probably pop it. But if anything, I might just do a nice little, I don't want to say, buffing right there. And then put a thin layer over it to hide that imperfection. But this is a really cute vase. And I like it. It's heavy too. So, you know, you put some water and flowers in it. It's not going to just tip over, which is nice. Alright, let's look at that's just some of our little pieces fell. She's pointing it out on top of our coasters. They're not stuck to it though. Alright, this is the coaster. We got a little bit of that silver mica in. Can you come to the center? Thank you. Just getting us in view. And I'm super excited about these. So it's key to get each petal kind of undone. And then you can work the center out. And then, ooh, I'm loving this green. So that is the green that we're going to want to do for this project that I'm going to get set up for soon. This was kind of the experiment of it. The only thing I would do different, like I told y'all, I poured the mica first. Next time I would pour the alcohol inks and then do the mica. But it still came a really cool effect.
Yellow got hidden. The gold or yellow got hidden.
Oh yeah, the yellow did get hidden. You can't really see it. A little bit in there, but not a ton. So, that was just an experiment. Hey, you two pups, stop. As you're being ornery. Okay, we're good. I know, we're trying to tell the pups to chill out. They're being just spicy. They're just playing, but like, go downstairs. Ooh. So this one we did more of the swirly look to it. I want to show you something here. So yeah, look at that swirl. I definitely like this bloom technique better, but this one is really pretty. Oh, no, my daughter's shaking her head. She likes the swirl better, huh? Yeah, okay. One thing I wanted to show you is that, see how this all pulled to the center, and then you end up with a darker center. That's normal. That's that resin pulling. This is how you can really see that happen, and see how that happens on this side, except it's creating the bloom because it's pulling those in and giving us that look. So yeah, it looks really good. I like that green though. That was the way to go, definitely. So yeah, well, I'm gonna put this on its side so y'all can see the colors better. Alrighty.
What's your favorite thing? What's your favorite thing?
What's my favorite? The vase. It's my favorite piece. Took a lot longer to do, but I do like, I think this purple would look really good with this green, actually. For sure, she says, yes. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed this little series, and we'll start a new one next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.